Good morning, students. This video is for the students of class 9th, subject science, chapter number 14, that is natural resources. It's your lecture number 4. So students, topics to be discussed in today's lecture is biogeochemical cycle. Okay, and under this biogeochemical cycle, we would be covering water cycle and nitrogen cycle today. So let's start with the first topic, that is biogeochemical cycle. What is biogeochemical cycle? A constant interaction between biotic and abiotic components of biosphere makes it a dynamic but stable system. These interactions consist of a transfer of matter and energy between the different components of the biosphere. Means you know that in the previous lecture we discussed about the components of biosphere, right? So when the interaction takes place between these components of the biosphere, it results in the transfer of matter and energy. Okay, those interactions, they consist of transfer of matter and energy between those components of the biosphere. So this is called as biogeochemical cycle. So are you clear about this biogeochemical cycle? So students, let us discuss the different biogeochemicals present in nature. Basically, there are four important biogeochemical cycles in nature. What are those? First is water cycle, second is nitrogen cycle, third is carbon cycle, and fourth is oxygen cycle. Okay, so we will study these cycles in detail one by one. So let's start with the first cycle, that is water cycle. This water cycle, it is also called as hydrological cycle. Hydro means water. So, what is the other name given to this water cycle? Hydrological cycle. Now, what happens or what is this cycle? It is the circulation of water between atmosphere, land and water bodies on the earth. Okay, means the water circulation takes place between atmosphere, land and the different water bodies like river, canal, lakes which are present on the earth. So the steps involved in water cycle are, so there are four steps in water cycle. What are those? Evaporation, condensation, precipitation and infiltration. Okay, so what is evaporation? Evaporation of water from ocean, rivers, lakes, canals, ponds, etc. into water vapors. Means the water is evaporated into water vapors. And which water? The water which is present in oceans, rivers, lakes, canals and ponds. Means the water present in water bodies, it is converted into water vapors. And this process is called as evaporation. Okay, so this is the first step involved in water cycle. What is the second step? Condensation. What happens in condensation? Condensation of water vapors in the air to form tiny water droplets which join together to form bigger drops and finally the clouds. Means the water vapors have been formed, right? These water vapors present in the air, they form tiny water droplets. And these tiny water droplets, they join together to form bigger drops which finally results in the formation of clouds. So this process is called as condensation. Okay, this was the second step involved in water cycle. Third step involved in water cycle is precipitation. Precipitation or the water droplets in clouds to produce rains. Means the clouds have been formed, right? So these clouds, the precipitation or the water droplets takes place and rain is produced. Okay, so this is precipitation, the third step involved in water cycle. And the last step is infiltration. infiltration of rainwater into the soil and replenishing both groundwater and soil water. See students, now the rain has occurred due to precipitation process. Okay, so this rainwater, where does it go? It seeps into the soil and replenish both the groundwater and soil water. Okay, so this process is infiltration. So these are the steps which are involved in water cycle. You can see from the diagram, this is water cycle. See, surface water. Surface water means the water bodies like canals, rivers, lakes, ponds, river streams, etc. So this water evaporates. What is the process called? Evaporation. So evaporation has taken place. That is the first step. After evaporation, condensation takes place. Right? The tiny droplets, they combine to form bigger droplets which finally result in the formation of clouds. So condensation process has taken place. Now third step is precipitation. Through the clouds the rain is occurring. So that is precipitation, and after precipitation the last step is infiltration. Means rock deep percolation. What does it mean? That the water, the rainwater, it sweeps into the soil and thus it replenishes the groundwater as well as the soil water. So this was about water cycle. So students, let us move ahead to our next cycle, that is nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is the important essential element for all living organisms, for the synthesis of amino acids, proteins, enzymes, etc. Okay, you know that hydrogen, oxygen, they are important elements, right? So beside these, nitrogen is also one of the important essential elements for all the living organisms existing on this planet Earth. Okay, so why it is needed? For the synthesis of amino acids, proteins and enzymes, nitrogen is required. So that's why it is an essential element. Second point is, what is the concentration of the nitrogen present in atmosphere? So the answer is, the concentration of nitrogen in atmosphere is 78%. What is the percentage? It is 78% of nitrogen in atmosphere. So what is nitrogen cycle? The circulation or the cyclic movement of nitrogen from the atmosphere, that is abiotic component, to soil, that is biotic component, and back into the atmosphere is known as water cycle. Means the nitrogen is circulated through the biotic and abiotic components. Okay, and also it is returned back into the atmosphere. Why it is returned back into the atmosphere? In order to maintain the equilibrium. Okay, in order to maintain the amount of nitrogen in atmosphere, the nitrogen is being returned back into the atmosphere. So this process, this circulation of nitrogen, it is called as nitrogen cycle. Now the question arises, what happens if there is no nitrogen? What will happen when nitrogen does not exist in nature? The root systems and the plant growth, they are stunted. Okay, the plant growth will become stunted. Stunted means the growth will reduce in size. Second is, older leaves, they turn yellow. The color of the leaves, it changes and it turns to yellow. Third is decrease in crop production. You know that nitrogen is an essential element for the crops. Okay, so when there is no nitrogen, the production of the crops will be decreased. And fourth, that is soil microorganisms life become dangerous. You know that soil, it is home to various microorganisms, like, so if nitrogen is not present, the life of those microorganisms which are living in the soil, they will become dangerous. So there are adversely various effects of nitrogen when it is not present in nature. So that's why nitrogen is an essential element for every living organism existing on this planet Earth. So what are the steps involved in nitrogen cycle? There are 5 steps which are involved in nitrogen cycle. First is nitrogen fixation, second is nitrogen assimilation, third is ammonification, fourth is nitrification, and fifth is denitrification. Okay, so these are the 5 steps which are involved in nitrogen cycle. So let's start with the first step, that is nitrogen fixation. What is nitrogen fixation, or what happens? Conversion of free atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia is called as nitrogen fixation. Means free atmospheric nitrogen, it is converted to ammonia. Ammonia, what is the formula of ammonia? NH3. Okay, the formula of ammonia is NH3. So the atmospheric nitrogen is converted to ammonia. That process is called as nitrogen fixation, which is the first step involved in nitrogen cycle. So this nitrogen fixation takes place in the following ways. It takes place in 3 ways. What are those ways? First is atmospheric nitrogen fixation. Second is biological nitrogen fixation. Third is industrial nitrogen fixation. Okay, so either in of these ways the nitrogen fixation occurs. So let us study the first way of nitrogen fixation, that is atmospheric nitrogen fixation. What happens in this? During lightning, when lightning occurs, the high temperature and the pressure created in the air convert nitrogen into oxides of nitrogen. Okay, there is high temperature and high pressure which is created in the air. So they will convert the nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere into oxides of nitrogen. Okay, and these oxides, they dissolve in rain to give nitric acid and nitrous acid, and they fall on land along with the rain. These are then utilized by various life forms. Means nitrogen is converted into its oxides, and these oxides, they dissolve in rain to form nitric acid and nitrous acid, which will come on the land along with the rain. Okay, and these are then utilized by various life forms. So this was your first way of nitrogen fixation, that is atmospheric nitrogen fixation. Second way is biological nitrogen fixation. Okay, now this biological nitrogen fixation, what happens in it? It takes by either free living nitrogen fixing bacteria or symbiotic bacteria. Okay, it is taking by 2 types of bacteria. What are those 2 types? Free living and symbiotic. Free living means which are living freely in nature, and symbiotic means which are found in association with other organisms. For example, lichen. Lichen is a symbiotic association of algae and fungi. So that is symbiotic. So what are the examples of free living bacteria which are involved in nitrogen fixation? Azotobacter, Clostridium. These are free living bacteria. An example of symbiotic bacteria, that is Rhizobium. Okay, which is found in association with the root nodules of the leguminous plants. Okay, so this is how the biological nitrogen fixation occurs. The second way of nitrogen fixation. Third way of nitrogen fixation is industrial nitrogen fixation. How does it occur? It takes place by combining nitrogen with hydrogen under high temperature and pressure to form ammonia, which is further changed to urea. Okay, what happens? That there is high temperature and pressure, so nitrogen combines with hydrogen and they form ammonia. What is the formula of ammonia? It is NH3. Okay, so this ammonia, it is changed to urea further. Okay, so this is industrial nitrogen fixation, that is the third way of nitrogen fixation. So in either of these ways, the nitrogen gets fixed. So coming to the second step of nitrogen cycle, that is nitrogen assimilation. What was the first step? It was nitrogen fixation. So second is nitrogen assimilation. What happens in this? It is a process of absorption of nitrates and ammonia into organic nitrogen. And this organic nitrogen is transferred into animals' body when the plants are eaten by animals. Okay. So what happens in this process? I am repeating again. The absorption takes place of nitrates and ammonia into organic nitrogen. Okay. And this organic nitrogen, it is transferred to animal's body. How? When the plants they are eaten by animals, the nitrogen gets transferred to animal's body. So this is the second step of nitrogen assimilation. That is absorption of nitrates and ammonia into organic nitrogen. Third step is ammonification. Okay, what happens? It is the process of conversion of complex organic nitrogen into ammonia when animal dies. Okay, the organic nitrogen, it has been formed in the previous process. Okay, so that organic nitrogen, it is converted to ammonia. That is why the name is ammonification, because ammonia is formed. Okay, and this ammonification process, it is carried out by putrefying bacteria and some fungi. Okay, so this is the third step involving nitrogen cycle, that is ammonification. So the fourth step of nitrogen cycle is nitrification. What is nitrification? It is the process of conversion of ammonia into nitrites and then nitrates. Okay, you know that ammonia has been formed in the previous process, that is ammonification, right? So this ammonia is converted to nitrites and then nitrates. So this is nitrification process and it is carried out by bacteria which are called as nitrifying bacteria. So what are nitrifying bacteria? The bacteria which are involved in nitrification process are called as nitrifying bacteria. So this was about nitrification process. So students, you can see that I have divided this nitrification process into two steps for your easiness. In the first step, ammonia is converted to nitrites by which bacteria? Nitrococcus. Nitrococcus is the nitrifying bacteria which converts ammonia into nitrites. Second step is nitrites, it's converted to nitrates with the help of nitrobacter. That is also a nitrifying bacteria which is involved in conversion of nitrites into nitrates. So this was about nitrification process. So the last step is denitrification process involved in nitrogen cycle. What is denitrification process? It is a process of conversion of nitrates into molecular nitrogen in order to maintain the equilibrium of nitrogen in the atmosphere. You know that nitrates has been formed in nitrification process, right? So that nitrates which is being formed, it is converted back into molecular nitrogen, means that is returned back into the atmosphere. Now the question arises, why it is returned back into the atmosphere? In order to maintain the equilibrium of nitrogen in the atmosphere. Okay, the equilibrium is established, that's why nitrogen is returned. And this denitrification process, it is carried out by denitrifying bacteria. So what are denitrifying bacteria? The bacteria which are involved in denitrification process are called as denitrifying bacteria. So are you clear about the nitrogen cycle? There are 5 steps: nitrogen fixation, nitrogen assimilation, then ammonification, nitrification, and then denitrification. So students, this is a diagram of nitrogen cycle. This diagram has been taken from your NCERT book. So I am repeating again what happens. Nitrogen is present in the atmosphere. What is the concentration? 78%, right? So this nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere, the first step is nitrogen fixation which occurs. Then ammonification takes place which result in the formation of ammonia. Then ammonia is converted to nitrites, then to nitrates. That process is nitrification. Then renitrification occurs and nitrogen is returned back into the atmosphere. And you can see also the atmospheric and industrial fixation is also taking place. So this was about nitrogen cycle. So today we discussed two cycles, that is water cycle and nitrogen cycle. So what is your homework for today's lecture? You will have to answer the following questions. Question number 1 is, what are the different states in which water is found during the water cycle? Question number 2 is, name two biologically important compounds that contain both oxygen and nitrogen. And the last question 3, write a short note on water cycle. So you have to do these questions in your notebook. So now I will be discussing the homework solutions of lecture number 3. So there was one question which was given to you homework. Why is water essential for life? Or why do organisms need water? So the answer to both these questions, they are same. So the answer is, the organisms need water because of the following reasons. First is, all the cellular processes takes place in a water medium. That is the first reason. Second reason is that substances are transported from one part of the body to the other in a dissolved form. That is the second reason. Third reason is that it helps in digestion of food and removing waste from the body as sweat, urine, etc. And fourth reason you can also write, it maintains body temperature. So these are the reasons to the question, why do organisms need water? Your next question was, what is the major source of fresh water in city, town, village where you live? So the answer is, the groundwater is a major source of fresh water which is brought to surface through tube wells, hand pumps, well, etc. Okay? And the next question was, do you know any activity which may be polluting this water source? So the answer is, the groundwater is getting polluted due to the dumping of untreated sewage and industrial waste on the ground, from where the pollutants seep into the soil and reach the groundwater. Next question was, how are living organisms dependent on soil? Are the organisms that live in water totally independent of soil as a resource? So the answer is, soil is home to many microorganisms. It provides food and shelter to bacteria, fungi, etc. which are living in the soil. It provides nutrients and minerals to the autotrophs. And from the autotrophs, these minerals and nutrients, they reach the herbivorous and carnivorous through food chain. And the answer of second part of the same question, no. Soil is a source of food and shelter to aquatic organisms. The aquatic plants derive their nutrients from the soil present at the bottom of water bodies. The aquatic animals are directly or indirectly taking nutrition from aquatic plants. And in this way, soil is an important natural resource for all living organisms. So you can match your answers, and remaining questions, they were direct. I will not discuss again. So thank you class.